Okay, guys, welcome to a brand new episode of WrestleSlam, as we call it, Monday Night Wrestle Wars via WrestleSlam. I'm joined by Phil, Liz, and Joe for a massive episode. There's a lot of gossip, and a lot of stuff floating about, and I was raring to get on. Just before we done and kicked off the show, we had Mike Bailey on with us, and we'd like to congratulate, because when this goes out tomorrow, Mike Bailey will be married. But in the midst of interviewing Mike Bailey, I goes, Mike, what are you up to? And he goes, I'm in Las Vegas right now, and he goes, I'm getting married tomorrow. Just like that. So Mike Speedball Bailey, congratulations from all of us here at WrestleSlam. We're massive fans, and he'll be a married man when this show goes out in Las Vegas. So, Mike, congratulations to you and your partner from all of us here at Sports Matters and WrestleSlam. This show is brought to you by Manscaped.com. The 2.0 package is flying out the shelves, guys. Do check out the promo code. It's WrestleSlam. And there's plenty of products there as well. So head on over to manscaped.com, and there's a free delivery as well. 20% off. Your promo code is WrestleSlam. So guys, I'm going to firstly mention it's been over 20 years. It happens to be today where Owen Hart's anniversary has popped up. Now it's been 23 years, I believe. So 1999, wasn't it? So it's obviously still very fresh in a lot of minds. For us, we were kind of a lot younger. We were, I suppose we didn't even hit teen, and like we weren't teens when it happened, really.
I was only 14.
I was 15.
Oh, when he's born.
Yeah, same as myself. But it's quite fresh in the mind. Now, lads, All Elite Wrestling are doing a massive tribute, as we know, which is great. A lot of people are raised eyebrows. We brought it up on the show many months ago when All Elite opted to do it, with the Owen Hart Foundation. But obviously, he's iconic. He's still regarded, still remembered. It's kind of crazy that it's been so long, hasn't it, Jer?
Crazy is right. I was watching that pay-per-view live. It was one of the first pay-per-views I actually got to sit up and watch live on Sky Sports at the time. Now, obviously, they didn't show what actually happened on TV, but it sent shockwaves around the wrestling community back then, before the internet was a thing. So I can imagine if something like that happened these days. If the videos, for people in the crowd would have posted stuff like that online within the hour of it actually happening, not realizing he may have passed away. So I'm kind of glad it happened, back in the time when it did, because nobody would have wanted to see that actually happening. It was such a sad moment, and I remember watching the Raw the next night after, and all the interviews. They were sitting backstage interviewing Jeff Jarrett and people like that, and just it was heartbreaking. So he's such a talented wrestler, but one of the funniest people in the locker room, from all the stories you hear about him, all stuff he used to get up to, like leaving off stink bombs in the middle of matches, hurting people's stomachs. Is just classic Owen. So I'm glad somebody's, I'm glad, obviously the things with Martha and WWE, that's between them. So I'm glad that they're able to do something to acknowledge his career. And the fact that he's a player, they can play as a character now in the AEW game as well. It's going to be cool, because that's not something that you get to do very often.
No, he was one of the best rippers in all of wrestling. Brett tells some great stories, everyone does. But I suppose I could have thought about something the other day, and it was kind of like, obviously that pay-per-view was live when we watched it, and there's never really a delay. So, I suppose, the way the incident happened, I'm not going to go into detail, but obviously the incident happened, he was in the rafters and stuff, but it could have been a lot worse, in the sense of, I suppose if he was actually coming onto the ring when the cameras went onto him and the rope snapped, it would have been, Jesus Christ, that would have been mental. Do you know what I mean? It would have been frightening if that happened, he was fighting the Godfather, wasn't he?
Yeah, there was a backstage segment airing when he was coming down. So
yeah, Jim Ross, I remember Jim Ross said something in the sense of obviously he was there, and JR was there. Sorry, JR and Jerry Lawler. And they were saying the cameras were due to go live, I think 2 minutes later, but it happened prior to that. So it was frightening. I always remember being at school next day. I always remember a Monday morning, and we're all wrecked and we're talking about it, and lads didn't believe it, and you didn't see what happened. But as you said, Joe, you hit the nail on the head there with the whole, if it happened today, you'd have fucking 120,000 videos up, and it would be horrible. It would be horrible for any family member to see the extent of something like that. And we see how crazy the world is today. If something happens, people would rather take a photo. Like the Titanic. If the Titanic was sinking,
fucking selfie.
Oh yeah.
You know, you see some of the stuff that people put up these days anyway, like, you know, fucking stuff happening, like beheadings and people getting stabbed, and you know, your man last week in America go around with the gun shooting people in the shops. Like, you know, that video went all over the fucking internet. Like, so why are you putting videos of people getting fucking killed? Like, if that happened, you know, if that happened in Cork or somewhere local where you're from, like, and, you know, people you knew were getting shot, would you want that video shared around?
No, it's mad. But iconic, you know, Owen, obviously not with us anymore, but look, gone but never forgotten. And that term is true when it comes to Owen.
I just say something weird there, because did you ever watch the opening to that Over the Edge?
Yeah, I've watched everything.
Really, really creepy to watch it back now. Yeah,
I've watched all the documentaries. I've watched fans that have been there. I watched, you know, certain pictures, you know, of the rafters, because I wanted to see what went wrong. There's conspiracies. Look, there's obviously a reason that Owen's family are not involved with WWE. There's you know, there's a lot of shit there, but it's you know, it's sad, it's tragic. You know what I mean? Such a great wrestler. Like, I think he would have been, what would Owen be now? I suppose he'd be in his late 50s, wouldn't he?
He'd be late 50s. But you know, the saddest part of it, he would have had a career revival with Kurt Angle and Eddie and all these guys.
Yeah.
And Jericho, yeah.
He was 33, wasn't he?
33, so 23 years ago. So yeah, he'd be 55, 56. Still quite young, like. No. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he was still wrestling, to be honest. But yeah, it's mad. No, just some other crazy news, guys. Stephanie McMahon has stepped away from all her positions within the company. What's your thoughts on this? Look, she's obviously been through a lot, right? There's a lot of rumors floating about, a lot of vicious rumors that, like, you know what I mean, there's family issues, you know what I mean? People were saying, look, you know what I mean, Triple H is, I suppose he's not in good spirits at the moment, but I don't believe the Triple H stuff, because I've seen him on the screens, and I think, look, he's had his scares, and he's one of the lucky guys. He even admits that himself. But like, what do you reckon's going on? Do you reckon it's just too much? She's got a young family. I think she's got 3 girls. She needs to step away. It's so much of a commitment, or do you reckon there's more to it?
To be honest, I don't really care. Do you know? And that's been straight up and honest, because regardless of her visibility, because of her position, her family, you know, things like that, and people will speculate and people will gossip, but for all her wrongdoings that people love to report on, for everything she stands for, she doesn't stand for. She did right, she did wrong. She has been with WWE, regardless of her dad running the gaff, since she was posing in their magazine when she was in her teens. It's been her absolute life. She has given everything to that business, and she's going to step away for a little bit to take a break, and straight away she's divorced. She must be sick. There must be something wrong. Family's falling apart. Hunter's on his deathbed. And I'm like, she's given like 30 odd years of her life to this, do you know? And straight away, like, the rumor, and that bugs the living shit out of me, because regardless of how you feel about the family, you can't deny that she's given everything to that company, absolutely everything. So if she wants to step away, I'll open the fucking door for her and say, here you go, do you want a cup of tea? Because if anyone deserves a break, she do. Do you know what I mean? So people will speculate and stuff like that. I doubt it's anything major, but her husband had a serious heart condition. She was trying to hold her own branding officer position, as well as probably taking over some of his duties as well, holding down a family with young girls. Like, you see, aside from, before anything happened with him, you saw what their life was like. She finishes at 1 o'clock in the morning, goes home and trains, and then gets up again at 5 o'clock the following morning, does the same thing, running on 4 or 5 hours sleep a night. So I wouldn't be surprised if what happened to Hunter was a bit of a wake-up call, and she was like, do you know what? My family need me too, so I need to take a little break, do you know? So who knows? But I wish her nothing but the best and hope that all is good.
I love it, Lizzie. I love it. Straight to the point, and that's the girl's take. I love it. It's true. Who gives a fuck? At the end of the day, it's her decision. It's you know, she needs to step away. She needs to step away. There should be nothing said about it. You know, we shouldn't have people on Twitter saying, you know, this and that, and fucking it's no one's business.
Oh, do they know her? No, they don't. They've just got fuck all else to do with their time except prick around with something in their hand, trying to find something to fucking talk about, and it's people's fucking lives. Cunts. Sorry. No, that word. You can cut that one out, Phil. I shouldn't have said that word.
It's all good. No, we're not going to cut out that word, because look, this is extreme. This is what we do. And look, we're straight to the point. And this is
but she's right though. People care way too much about all this stuff. It's just.
Oh, come here. If they told me Stephanie was, you know, fucking fired or something, or she was like, you know, indefinitely suspended because of what she done to enter wrestling star, he'd be like, I'd be, oh, the bitch, can you fucking believe it? Oh, she's not definitely the character, do you know what I mean? And I would have been gossiping like a demon. But like, I can't imagine what it was like for her to say that, do you know what I mean? And to do it such short and sweet and just the next day. And she done it very well. She done it the night before it was going to happen, because she knew if she done it like a fucking week, there'd be rumors flying, and it would just probably add to her distress, you know?
Yeah, no.
But he returned to work then the next day.
Yeah, Phil, I was going to get your opinion, Phil. Obviously, Stefan and Triple H, he's back.
Triple H returned the very next day. So people saying that all that shit about Triple H don't know what they're on about.
Yeah,
not a bit. Knows. The internet community, you know, wherever they're talking from Facebook or Twitter or wherever, like it's normally just bullshit. Like there's nothing else to do. Like,
but it gives us a bad name as wrestling fans. It really does, and they're not fucking fans. It just gives us a bad name, and it makes us all fit the stereotypical sat in a mother's basement somewhere, you know, having a toss watching wrestling and just trying to fucking think. It just gives us all such a bad fucking name with this bullshit. Like, and to your point about Owen Hart, I can't even imagine if this happened, because everybody's a fucking expert. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's a doctor. Just fuck off and enjoy sports entertainment.
And when you say that, sports entertainment right now is at a peak, guys.
Yeah.
Wrestling's at a really good place. So, yes. Lizzie, you said it. You nailed it on the head.
Start not talking if the rest of it is starting.
Like if you're a celebrity, even just not even wrestling, if you say one thing, they'll look up old tweets from like 12 to 14.
Anywhere.
Anything to corroborate what they think of you. If they don't like you, they will find something to support the fact that once upon a time someone said something to somebody 10 years of age when they were going through puberty. Oh, well, they're a fucking villain. Fuck off.
But you notice, guys, there's actually a lot of people that don't give interviews. There's a lot of people that actually only talk to one person. So like Randy Orton being one of them. Very rare you see Randy do something. Very rare.
Yeah.
Because they'll twist what he says.
Yeah.
They'll twist what he says.
It's all about playing it safe, and we know journalists, like, you know what I mean? They're fucking
I think Orton's given one interview in 10 years, and that was the Pat McAfee thing.
Yeah.
And he actually done one. He done one in the UK a couple of weeks ago, which was a shock. Himself and Riddle did one, and that was epic to see it. So it just goes to show that, like,
what happened?
Whoever's involved, they know who's who, and they're not going to fuck about, like, you know, which is great.
What happened with him is like he got misinterpreted. Did he years ago? And did he hit someone or something?
Yeah. That was legit, wasn't it? He cracked the fucking Yeah, that was interesting. But anyway, it was mad. Phil, I want to ask you something. Sasha Banks, Naomi. Naomi's removed something from her Twitter, which is fucking huge news. It's done 100,000 tweets. Naomi has removed WWE from her Twitter volume. Look, it's fair to say they're probably gone, is it?
I don't think so. I think this is going to go on for another year or so. I think they have the right now to freeze their contracts because they don't read their contract properly when they sign them.
You're right there. Now, I don't think I've ever read a contract either when I've signed it. I'm stupid. I just want to know what the reread is and what my hours are. And look, that's fine. Not about the terms and conditions, which, you know, can completely fuck you up. But anyway, it's
like they're if Sasha Banks has 3 months now on her contracts, they can freeze that until she decides she's come back, and if she don't come back, 18 months down the line, and it's still the same situation.
Now, is it fair to say though, right? I cannot vision Sasha Banks in All Elite Wrestling.
It's hard.
Hollywood. I think straight to Hollywood.
Yeah,
she wants to be famous. She was, you know, obviously she got the Mandalorian show, like, out of whatever contact she had, like, or she was on some
Hot Wings
episode where John Favreau saw her on it, and that's how she got the role in that. So she's in the door, like, she's got Snoop Dogg in her corner as well, like, so there's no reason why she can't go on and be, you know, a massive star outside of WWE. But at the same time, like, you know, you don't want to have a bad reputation of walking out on a job, because, you know, you don't want to be walking off set on job, you know, on a movie or TV show because you don't like the way things are done, like, so you just don't know what's going to happen.
Definitely. It obviously puts Roman in a bad position, because if we know Roman is, you know, he's close with Naomi.
There's a good thing about this is that he's going to be gone for weeks, so he doesn't have to deal with it in the the company.
Yeah. No, it's going to be interesting.
He's gone for 10 weeks. I don't think he's coming back until Money in the Bank.
Yeah. No, it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of stuff happening, but like Lizzie, it's probably fair to say that look, Sasha and Naomi will be a big loss if they do go. Like people are assuming they're gone because look, they've crossed the lines. You know what I mean? People say don't ever cross the line in that organization. But look, clearly, it doesn't look good. It looks like they want out, or it looks like they're on they're trying to stand for something. Do you know what I mean? More respect.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And you know what? Like people are quick to jump on it and make up. They're like, oh, nobody said anything with this happened, and nobody said anything with that happened. Naomi's with that company a long time, a very long time. So can you imagine what it would have taken for her and probably Sasha to give her the nudge to say, Naomi, you're bang on, speak your mind. It would have taken a lot. I know you mean a lot because Naomi's paid her fucking dues. Now she really has, right? And I don't care what anyone says. She's good in the ring. She is athletic in the ring. She's impressive in the ring, and she sells fucking merch. She has it all. So she would be a huge loss because I think she really, really connects with kids. And me too. I think she's fab, and Sasha, obviously, she had issues before. She put herself first. Nothing but respect for that. But she, according to, now, creative changes, right? But she was apparently going to headline WrestleMania with Charlotte. And then Ronda was like, I'm back. And she was kicked out of that position. So I can understand that creative changes, but I'd probably be pretty pissed too. And then the tag, it was a thrown together tag team, which they made work. And that was a consolation. And this isn't the second time there's been an upset for her at WrestleMania. This isn't the first time there's been an upset for her at WrestleMania. So I can understand her frustration as well. And it would take a lot. Naomi's working on an extension, so.
Yeah. And you said that the last episode. So our last midweek show, you touched base on Naomi, and she's on the brink of something big, and she is big, but it's the sense of like, she should be champion. You know what I mean? She should be perhaps ahead of Ronda. But as you said, they bring back Ronda. Becky Lynch is in that kind of category now where we've seen Nia Jax talking shit about Becky, saying that she doesn't have a close relationship with any of them, I suppose, the females in the locker room. But I say Becky doesn't give a fuck anyway. She just wants to do her thing, get paid.
But yeah, come out and supported Becky. Then today she came out and said that Becky carried the feud from SummerSlam right through to WrestleMania. Like it was all down to Becky's work that helped them continue, keep that rivalry going throughout the whole summer and winter. And so, I'm sure Becky has plenty of supporters in that locker room. The fact that she, after what happened with Charlotte, there was a lot of support for Becky as well. Like, so
yeah,
it's a divided. It's definitely a divided locker room.
Yeah,
and it's mad to touch base on that because you hear all these mixed opinions. Like there's one side of the locker room, the other side of the locker room. If the Undertaker was around in the locker rooms today, I don't think there'd be any problems, lads. He'd be the Roy Keane of the fucking locker room,
I don't think
bring back Wrestler's Court.
I don't think they do that anymore, do they? I don't think there's anybody around.
Wrestler's Court.
Yeah, I don't think Randy Orton or anybody up or Roman Reigns is the judge anymore. They're fucking with the gavel.
People are too soft as well for all that stuff. They just
cancel culture.
Yeah.
Imagine the Taker. Imagine Undertaker in the locker room, and obviously, look, there's two locker rooms, male and female, but imagine the shit that's been pulled today. I don't think he'd fucking tolerate that very much. You know what I mean?
And don't get me wrong, the people who are working today are they're working super hard as well. But back in the day, it was tougher. You know what I mean? It was extremely, extremely tough on them. And you saw a lot of people went through just to get from A to B and just to make the next show. And they didn't have the supports that are available now, So
I couldn't imagine anybody these days getting changed in a broom closet, the way Miz did, or, getting kicked off the bus, I'm not sure, was Riddle?
Enzo was kicked off the bus, wasn't he?
Enzo was kicked off the bus. I can imagine somebody getting kicked off the bus these days, most of them have their own private buses nowadays, so that's probably not helping either because there's no continuity.
There's no engagement at all with the team. So you've got three people in a car and ride along bitching. You've another three people in another car bitching, and a lot of things can happen on a 3-hour journey when you're bitching, and your mind can be changed or influenced. So
no, I love it. Now, there's a lot of stuff happening at this moment in time. So I'm just going to get into Raw. And look, Raw will go out. Obviously, we record on Monday. But Tuesday, so look, Cody's set to square off against The Miz. Becky Asuka to kind of she's going to address her as the #1 contender, which is going to be interesting. Clash of the Castle, there's you know, the fan experience packages are there. We know Jur and Liz will be in attendance, which will be fucking awesome. This is going to be awesome. So keep an eye out for Jur and Liz. You know, Wales, Cardiff, you know, the wrestling community. I like the way Liz said, you know, if you're around, give us a shout. You know, we'll all meet up. It's always good to see these teams, you know, the tailgates. Who knows? WrestleSlam might have a bit of involvement out there. Keep an eye around. You know, there's so much to come in the coming months. So
What's
look, there'll be plenty of interviews. We can assure you of that. So do stay tuned and all that as well. Also, guys, we have to mention as well that our podcast, our show, WrestleSlam podcast, is available on audio. We're on Spotify and we're due to drop on Apple in the coming days as well. So do stay tuned. Is there more platforms? It's just Spotify and Apple, is it, or is there more?
There's a lot of them. Yeah.
Google.
Google as well, and
Bean. What's that Bean one?
Podbean.
Podbean.
Yeah.
There's loads out there.
I'm so outdated, but yeah. So do check out Spotify right now. You can catch them all there. The previous episodes are there. We'll have the Mike Bailey audio up there as well. Guys, there's only 2 minutes. I'm going to cut it. There's only 2 minutes left. So
This
I don't know what
Thursday, well, it's going to be out on Friday night. The episode is going to be the Double or Nothing prediction show. We're going to be joined. Finally, we're getting joined by Ted, the Hillbilly Heel. He's finally coming on this week. We're going to get his thoughts on Double or Nothing for this weekend as well. So looking forward to that. Keep an eye out for that one.
So, guys, as you say, look, it's a massive show as always. We're honored to have you all tuned in. Don't forget to check us out on Spotify. Check out all our previous videos on the WrestleSlam podcast. And as I said, the show will go out Tuesday. So do check out all the links, the Slam Wrestle on Twitter, and much more. And look, the midweek show, we're going to talk about Phoenix Wrestling and OTT plus more. From myself, Jerry, from Phil, from Liz, and from Jur. Thank you very much for tuning in to WrestleSlam the podcast. Guys, we'll catch you soon.
Bye.
Bye.